Sir, it's 4 p.m. Shall we start? With due permission of Partha sir and Ramakrishna sir.
Yes, we
Yeah,
can.
yeah, yeah, we can.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. This is Dr. Ruksha Mahapatra, Assistant Professor, SPM University, Bhubaneswar. As all of you know, the title of this webinar is MSME and Atmanirbhar Bharat. First of all, I would like to welcome all the participants. To have a deep discussion on this particular topic, we have our panel members with us. Let's welcome our first panel member, Dr. Parthasarathi Mishra. Being an IAS officer, he has served as Deputy Collector, Project Director, Director, Managing Director, and Additional Special Secretary in different departments of government corporations. Dr. Mishra has special contribution in reforming education sector during his posting in Higher Education Department as Special Secretary, as Registrar in Utkal University, as Director and Dean of Ravenshaw University as a State Project Director of RUSA. As Director cum Additional Secretary in Public Enterprises Department, major policy formulation and implementation have been initiated in state public sector undertaking. He is also the director in the board of directors of the Odisha Power Generation Corporation, Odisha Hydro Power Corporation, Odisha Beverage Corporation, Odisha Warehousing Development Corporation, Odisha Tourism Development Corporation, Odisha Agro Industries Corporation, Odisha Medical Corporation, and Odisha State Financial Corporation, etc. In a nutshell, he can best be described as an administrator with a soul. Sir, we welcome you.
Thank you.
So our second panel member, resource person, is Dr. Ravinder Kumar, who is a professor of finance and legal aspects of business in Jamia Millia Islamia Central University, but unfortunately he will not have been able to join due to the pandemic situation of Delhi. He has written a regret note to us and wished us good luck for this webinar. So our presently the second panel member is Mr. Ramakrishna Mukaveli. Mr. Ramakrishna Mukaveli sir is the founder and managing director of Maitri Aquatic Private Limited, a Make in India company which was founded to create a sustainable solution capable of mitigating global water scarcity concerns. Maitri Aquatics Meghdut is the only AWG to be approved by the Ministry of Jal Shakti following the approval of the esteemed Mashlekar Committee. Ramakrishna Mukaveli sir is also the founder and managing director of Growth Mode Consulting Limited, formerly known as JetCS Consulting Limited, and is the managing director of Crystal Morse Automation Limited. He is graduated in mechanical engineering from GB Plant University and holds postgraduate diplomas in marketing and IT. He has more than 28 years of experience in sales and marketing of the engineering products as an HR consultant. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
So, the theme of our webinar is MSME and Atmanirbhar Bharat. We know that MSME sector in India can play a very significant role in achieving the vision of self-reliant India. The outbreak of the pandemic will make the countries to think again on strengthening their local supply chain. Now we came to a stage where Atmanirbhar Bharat or the self-reliant India is badly needed for the future of India. It is essential to strengthen the local industries and their standing on a global stage. Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan also gives more and more courage to become independent and helpful to move towards making India more self-reliant in the post-COVID world. A country with sound economy, best infrastructure, and efficient system driven by technology, forward-looking policies, and fulfilling both the demographic and economic demand are possible by replacing the old structure with the new one for self-reliance. Here, MSME can be a major growth driver for this purpose. To have a grand discussion regarding this topic, I would like to request our first resource person, Dr. Parthasarathi Mishra sir, to have his deliberation. Sir, please.
Very good afternoon to all of you. In fact, first of all, I must thank the ASBM University, its president, Mr. Patnaik. In fact, I have known him for years. He's extremely enterprising person, and his discussions with me when I was in Department of Higher Education, I found it very intellectually inspiring. A lot of intellectual inputs actually he has given to the department. I also thank the registrar, the vice chancellor, and all the faculty members who have requested me to join in this webinar. And last but not the least, the assistant professor Ruksha Mahapatra, who coordinated the entire thing, and he organized this discussion. This discussion is in fact is required at this moment. Gentlemen, as I told you that I am a bureaucrat, I am an IS officer by profession, and both as a part of the policy formulation and policy implementation, and as a practitioner, I would give you a perspective of the government, what the government has been contemplating, what we have been planning, what the entire government machinery is thinking about the MSME sector. Before I start, I would like to quote Victor Hugo, the celebrated French novelist. He says, "You can't stop an idea whose time has come. In fact, today, the time of MSME has really arrived. We can't ignore it because it is one particular sector which vibrates your economy. That is what we always consider. MSME sector is the most important, and particularly during this pandemic period, where the most affected sector is MSME, naturally it indirectly affects the entire economic process of the country. So gentlemen, I would like to concentrate my entire analysis to the government programs and policies and where we have intervened. That is what is the would be my input in this entire discussion. As all of you know, that MSME is sector is the next to agriculture. It is the highest employment provider in India. In fact, if you look at the small industries, I mean, I was also the managing director of a small industry corporation. I know how the small industries play extremely important role in shaping the economic process and the employment generation. Everything is only the MSME that is important for us when formulate a policy. We know that there are basically the MSME is a sector where if you can go by the statistics, 56 million thousand industries are there providing employment to the lakhs and lakhs of people in this country. And what is important is that due to this pandemic, the whole process has come to a grinding halt. I mean, the way the 1.5 years we have spent that to the most of the industries, they have been shut down. I mean, even if they are running there with a reduced manpower, the production has been affected. It ultimately affected the employment of the people. It also affected the export process. The whole thing has been come to a process. So what is important now that I will come when we analyze about it, when we see that what last year's pronouncements of the government of India with regard to MSME. As all of you know that the entire MSME paradigms, it is based on 5 broad pillars. The first pillar has always been, it is called the infrastructure. If you do not have the right kind of infrastructure, then the MSME sector will never grow. You have to create an infrastructural environment where the small, medium and micro industries, they get a boost, that they're inspired, they're motivated to invest and start something. That is what is called the infrastructural problem. The second is called the economy. The economy needs to be vibrant. It has to be, it is just not a circular economy. It has to be in a process where the small and medium industries, they're supported. That is why the vibration economy is important. The third pillar would be the system. The system must keep an organic pace with the change of technology, the need of the time, what kind of product you should have, what kind of technology you should adopt. That is also important for the sustenance of MSME sector. The fourth is, they call the dynamic democracy. Your democratic process should be so dynamic, vibrant, and it must have a political will to promote the MSME sector. That is also important. And last but not the least, you need everything has to be demand based. That means the supply chain management system has to have an optimal use. That is what is called these 5 pillars of MSME sector that needs to be addressed. After the pandemic, when we felt that there is a huge crisis in terms of the employment generation, in terms of production, in terms of export, and in terms of the entire economy being affected, the government of India has announced very ambitious programs to support, to revive, and to introduce new MSME policies, programs, and schemes. So we can analyze those things in which you can understand how serious the government is. In last year, the government of India, as all of you know, that a historic step was taken by granting 20 lakhs crore to the MSME sector, where actually it is called the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, and the focus is on MSME sector. The first thing they have done, they created those confusion about the micro, small and medium. They wanted to make the definition has to be clear. So to bring a clarity of definition of the MSME sector and the confusion of manufacturing and service sector, so they have broadly divided the categories, and now the focus has been on investment and turnover, and that has been also increased, so that the companies which are more turnover and more investment, they are coming under, the entire criteria has been changed. So the definitional part is important, that has been changed. The number 2, what they brought in is that is called that automatic emergency credit limit. As all of you know, that many of the micro MSME sectors, when they are in distress, they run from pillar to post to get the financial support, and the cumbersome procedure by the the bankers, by the DICs, the Director of Industries, they in fact are in a doldrums to get the right kind of support in the right time. That is what is being understood by the government, and government in its wisdom has given them an automatic emergency credit limit. This is the second factor. If you are eligible by the new definition, automatically you are getting the benefit, and this is without the collateral security. That is important. And for the second category, those who are MSMEs who are already gone NPA, for them there is a subordinate debt system where government is supporting you up to a percentage of NPA. Supposing your investment is up to 125 crores, up to 15% support can be given. And another thing they have introduced, that is called the MSME fund of funds. Those who are already running and they can be revived, these MSME sectors can avail the fund of funds so that they can come out of the situation. And there are other things, like there are MSME facilitation centers have been opened, and more focus has been given to digitization of MSME. Lot of things happen in the digital platform. I mean, for example, nobody has to run here and there for applying for a loan. So whole process of availing fiscal support and other administrative support, that is in the digital platform. And all the MSME conferences, all the MSME trade fairs, they are now in the digital mode. So the government has given a very clear perspective and allotted a huge amount in the last budget and in the different program pronouncements and schemes, so that the MSME sector can be strengthened, can revive, and can be wriggled out of this situation. And I'm happy to say that government of Odisha has also initiated a lot of programs, policies, and they have also introduced a lot of such schemes whereby MSME sector can be supported. You must have you will be happy to know that government of Odisha every year organize a international trade fair where we invite only the MSME sectors. Entire world people come and join in Odisha. So this is one of this is going on for last couple of years. It is a huge success. We have seen that the B2B and B2C meetings are hugely successful in these trade fairs. Apart from that, we also award every year the most successful enterprises are being awarded by the government of Odisha, and they have been awarded with a lot of cash prize, lot of support, and we have made everything. These we declare them as our brand ambassadors. And you must be aware that Odisha conducts Make in Odisha conference in every alternate year. And for that, for the road shows to be conducted in Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, and all the metros, and in abroad also, for these road shows to make the Make in Odisha successful, we have also engaged our all MSME these things absolutely in a proper manner so that they are involved in the process. I would not take much time. I will just brief that the MSME sector is one sector which is the driver actually which is a growth engine. In fact, it starts, then it can really bring about radical changes. The transformative reforms, the kind of initiative, the boosters have been given by the government in different schemes, and all the schemes of government like the ease of doing business, the skilled movement, the all the government programs, they have dovetailed with the MSME sector so that we understand the predicaments, we understand the limitations, we understand the contradictions. There are lot of issues, lot of limitations, but in spite of that, it is the government which is extremely proactive. It is extremely proactive because the desperate times calls for desperate measures. We have, in fact, through this idea, we have been come up with a lot of things. All the district industry centers have been vibrated. They have digitized online. Funds are being released at a liberal level. I mean, all the bankers have been advised accordingly in the SLBC meetings. We are a part of it. We also go and participate in the SLBC meetings. The Reserve Bank guidelines are being followed. All government schemes of the central government and the state government, they are merged, synergized, and they have been given results. So all my participants, I wish that this discussion is timely. This discussion is important because all these transformative reforms, initiatives taken by government, which are both horizontal and which are both vertical, and they are substantive, and they can make a lot of changes so that once these ambitious historic steps taken by government yield its results, in spite of the worst times, we can always have the best of the results. I will end up with a quotation of Mark Twain in his novel Tale of Two Cities. The opening lines are: it was the best of summer, it was the worst of winter. It was the worst of times, it was the best of times. It is pandemic, but we have the hopes, we have the policies, programs in lineup. We can do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mishra. Here I would like to request our participants, if you're having any questions to Dr. Mishra, please put your questions in the chat box so that we can discuss it in your question answer section. So now I would like to request Mr. Ramakrishna Mukaveli, sir, to have his deliberation. Sir, please.
Thank you. And thank you, Dr. Mishra, for giving excellent insight into the government perspective of MSME. But we are two people who are on the different sides of the table. You are the policy maker and I am the MSME owner. So I am the beneficiary of all the schemes that you have described in your speech. See, medium micro sectors, small, medium, they have been there for last 4,000 years. The world is not new to small companies. If you see historically, the whole of civilizations, we had people who have been doing business as an individuals only. And Atmanirbhar is an integral part of a small enterprise. He's already Atmanirbhar. The very fact that he's an individual businessman, he's Atmanirbhar. The extension of that is going to the country today. But if you see really, the most of the smaller businessmen who do the business, whether they are at a micro level or a small level or at a medium level, they are the people who have decided to be there on their own, who have decided, who are ambitious, who are aspirational, and who have decided to take the risk. And those are the people who come into the starting of the businesses. And in a country like India, where we have a population of almost 130 crore, the opportunities are phenomenal. And the most successful MSME people are not necessarily the people who are the most qualified or who have a lot of background. It is the spirit of that entrepreneurship. It is the spirit to do something different. It is to build something on their own. Those are the people who start the companies. Now, fortunately, in the last couple of years, government also has started focusing on the requirements of these entrepreneurs, helping them as a part of Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative, or even as a Startup India or a Stand Up India. And a lot of incentives have been given to all these people to start their own enterprises, also sustain. But let me tell you one thing. While the major focus of the government has been on trying to help these smaller companies on the financial side, the finance from the banks is not available the way it is described in the policy, because banks still have a lot of demands which sometimes these smaller companies find it difficult to meet. While in spite of the best of the effort of the government, banks on their own have their own demands, which may be because of their business compulsion, because they are also for the profit organization. When we have somebody else who's on the profit organizations like banks, they are very particular that you meet 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 criteria before we give you the loan. Secondly, the success of an MSME is not entirely dependent on money. Most of the MSMEs are started by people who have domain expertise in one area, like a marketing person may start an enterprise, a design person may start an enterprise. But then what happens is that he needs support in multiple operational areas to be successful. So there should be a platform where he gets support. MSME is not always about, even a fruit vendor is a micro entrepreneur if he's trying to do, but he doesn't know, he's losing a lot of his product or his this thing because either of not being able to store it, or even an engineering company not being able to price it properly, or you're not getting the vendors proper this thing. So what I'm doing is there's a lot of learning requirement and a support requirement for these companies is required. Secondly, I strongly feel that MSME is too much of a large sector to be under one ministry. MS and M have to be in two different sectors. I personally feel micro have to be separated and small and medium have to be separated, because they are between them, they almost hold several thousands and thousands of companies, and no single policy fits for all of them. And neither the MSME centers are able to guide them properly because of the sheer volume of number of people they are handling. And the challenge of a micro entrepreneur is very different from a challenge of a medium entrepreneur or a small entrepreneur. Micro entrepreneur struggles on a day-to-day basis. Medium entrepreneur has already crossed all that. For him, paying a salary wage bill is not as difficult. As you've been describing about the pandemic, the most affected are the micro entrepreneurs, not the medium. Small, of course, partly, but the most affected are micro. So when we talk about a policy support, we got to have a differential policy system for micro and small and medium. By clubbing them together, what is happening is many a times we are missing the sight of the problems of the micro entrepreneur. Micro entrepreneur is a standalone requirement which one have to have a separate ministry or a separate policy maker helping them, because their day-to-day issues are very different. And banks also have to be told that micro entrepreneurs have to be treated very differently than a small and medium entrepreneur. We are clubbing them together. And banks many a times don't understand the challenge of micro entrepreneur, because for them it is the documentation, which is and policy level support. And to make India Atmanirbhar, success of these companies is very essential. See, today what we have seen, I'm exporting my product to 18 countries in the world. And what I see is that countries which are fully and having their food security in place, energy security in place, defense is another area where been taken care. Those are the countries which are really self-reliant. The countries which have outsourced their water requirement, countries which have outsourced, who don't have the security of their water security, who don't have the food security, or their food security is lying outside their country, then those are the countries which are very vulnerable. Anything happening in the world, even this pandemic issue get large, and there is a bigger challenge. Many of those countries suffer. Even many developed countries like Middle East and all that, they still don't have the food security. And any blockage of supply chain in the world is can create a large problem. Fortunately, thanks to our policy makers, central government, respective state government, governments are focusing on our food security. And today, fortunately, during the entire pandemic, India had a lot of problems, but not food problem, because fortunately our policy makers have ensured that the food security of this nation is very intact. And also defense wise also, we are not as vulnerable as any other countries. So we are able to safeguard our boundaries. We are able to safeguard our people. So the Atmanirbhar Bharat, which is totally self-reliant, where there is a scope for everybody to grow, and there is a scope for every entrepreneur to do his best, is only, and also is possible only when we slowly start stopping the imports, and also give a lot of this import substitution products in India, and we give incentive to them. We help them with the vendor. For the larger companies, the smaller companies should be made vendors, and there be a mandatory buying that is required from the smaller vendors. So this is large. One way we are privatizing the large companies, but I don't think the Indian large companies are compelled to buy from small MSMEs of the country. The large public sector, there are some policies, but large Indian private companies, I don't think there is any policy to buy from MSME. So other than what ancillaries they are developing for themselves, I think there is a requirement to support Indian small companies to do a lot of this import substitution products. One. Second, help them with the right kind of a background to grow. The 360-degree support is required. It's not only finance. Finance is one of the things, but what we require is a 360-degree support for these companies to grow. Take them to the best practices, and also don't allow them, if they fail, don't bring them to a point of social stigma where they don't get a loan. Today, you fail one loan, the banks will make you almost ineligible for everything. In a pandemic situation, in a global situation, there is always a possibility to fail. But I don't think there should be a way out for somebody failing in some enterprise to again restart. It should not that you fail in one enterprise, then you are not eligible for any loans, you are not eligible for thing, and then your CIBIL score goes down. And then almost 90% of the people who want to get into they want to become entrepreneurs, they always think twice before becoming entrepreneurs because of this challenge. They say that in case I fail, what will happen? So the government have to tell them it's okay. For a small portion, we have to support them, to tell them, like in rest of the world, failure should be an integral part of the micro entrepreneurs. Support them, which is partly been done. But I think we have to be told and educated about and all these entrepreneurs have to be educated about the policies that are being laid down. One major interaction when I have in the trade bodies, because I was also chairman of Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, and so while I was the chairman of Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, we were doing a lot of discussions with American companies about how Indian small companies can benefit. Most of the smaller companies are ignorant about the benefits being given by the government. And while there have been some lot of discussions, but I think more organized support, district industrial commissioners and all that have to be more proactive in their interacting with those companies and try to build that export business. That way, India will have a lot of export income, and also will have a lot of entrepreneurs who are capable of making India totally self-reliant. Thank you very much. I think rest we can answer while during the question answer session.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. So let's start the question answer session. There is a question. Sankar Kotat. He raised the question that Sankar here from Ramya Institute of Bangalore. His doubt is Atmanirbhar Bharat, its policy and regulation. How about its perspective on feasibility of MSME as technical, economic, sustainability market project? So I would like to request Ramakrishna sir to answer the question.
No, I think Dr. Mishra is well equipped to answer because it have more to do with the policy. That is what exactly I was, whatever his question is, what I was also trying to tell in my discussion. I think Dr. Mishra is more qualified to answer this question.
Sir, please. Sir, please switch on unmute your microphone.
Kindly repeat the question.
He asks, Atmanirbhar Bharat, its policy and regulation, how about its perspective on feasibility of MSME, such technical, economic, sustainability, market project?
Thank you for the question. And in fact, during my when I was speaking on the government policies, I in fact told that in the last year's budget, when the budget announcement in the floors of the parliament, in fact, this was the finance minister of the country. She in fact elaborated the entire thing. I will tell you that this Atmanirbhar Bharat, many people are in fact not clear about what this Atmanirbhar Bharat is all about. I mean, mostly people think that only that when we indigenously make something and that is we don't rely on others. But you see, the reliance means it's a huge concept actually. Atmanirbhar means you have to be self-reliant in your thought, in your action, in your support. Everything needs to be in a collaborative manner. It has to be done. So it is not that you bring something from abroad and assemble in India. That's not called the Atmanirbhar Bharat. Atmanirbhar Bharat basically means that all the support systems, they have to be indigenously done. And what happens in India, as the gentleman asked me, I would tell you that when we announced the MSME, the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, having a 20 lakhs crore support to the MSME sector, the whole idea was that all the MSME sectors which are absolutely in doldrums because of the situation, just to bail them out of the situation, the government come out with a package. This package is also extremely important. The confusion about the definition part I initially started, that the limit has been increased. For the micro, for the small, for the medium, the limits have been increased. The manufacturing and services category has been removed. It has come to the turnover system. So the broad umbrella has been given to the micro the entrepreneurs. This is one major breakthrough which was not there. In fact, it has been the demand of the industry association for quite long. That why have you not increased it? Because we are adopting new technology, the demand of the different kind of products that are expensive. We are investing a lot. So why the limit should be only 5 lakhs? Why it should not be into 5 crores or 10 crores? So we have already done that. My only submission that the policies and programs I discussed in my lecture, one by one, these are all actually want to help the MSME sector. Different categories of sectors are like, supposing somebody wants to already running, but it is sick because of the pandemic. For them, they have the fund of fund system. Supposing somebody is already NPA, for them there is a package. For example, there is and most important here, government is a guarantee. I understand the concerns of Ramakrishna sir. He in fact flagged off a lot of issues with regard to the conservative attitude of the bankers. We understand the predicament of a banker also, because when we also ask, because every banker has been given a target that you have to give this much of mudra loan, you have to release this much of loan so that the MSME sector can survive. We review it every alternate month. Their problem is that most of this the bad date cannot do. We are answerable to our authorities, but we also understand that the bankers do not coordinate. The district industry officers don't cooperate. District administration don't cooperate. That MSME sector will never survive. Will never get the right kind of support. I fully agree with Ramakrishna ji. The conservative attitude, the red tapism, releasing the loan, so many considerations, ifs and buts, in spite of the government's efforts. But this time, the government has also fixed accountability. I mean, at the RBI level, every state headquarters, there is a quarterly meeting, and this is being reviewed. Every meeting we review it, and how much target you achieved. You flag up your problem. We ask the bankers, you flag up your problems. You don't say that we cannot be. So if the bankers do not come out, the financial institutions do not come out, then nothing will happen. As rightly indicated, it is not the finance alone. You need to have the land in, because like in Odisha, we have a land bank reserved for the only for industries. Only for MSME sectors, we have reserved some industrial estates where lands are reserved for them. Like land you require, you need the technology you require, the kind of administrative help you require. So all these things required, and I believe things have been already done. It is in the right place. Kind of support the MSME sector requires. It is already there. I understand the problems, but we should not have a pessimistic view that we will not have the chance to get it done. Give us little time to deliver. That is more important. Thank you.
So
Good
another
evening.
question. Yes, Sankarji, you can ask.
Yes. Sir, to add further to my question, I got my answer, sir. Thank you. But my further query is regarding whatever you have explained in your lecture, that one of the main pillars of MSME Atmanirbhar Bharat is infrastructure. And as the father of the nation told very clearly that the development of our nation lies in the development of villages. And most of the villages are operated in the remote areas, and what they depend on is handicraft, where they create such products based on the efforts of the family members, based on the minimal investment. So when it comes to infrastructure, the main pillar of our MSME and Atmanirbhar Bharat, how this infrastructure policies will be there, sir? How it will be prosecuted on such handicraft, family-oriented MSMEs?
Mr. Sankar, you know that there are out of the 56 million enterprises across India, 60% are rural based. The MSME is 60% rural based. And you will be happy to know that there are 14% women entrepreneurs who are out of this MSME, they lead this thing.
Yes,
When we talk of the improvement of the MSME sector, we do understand that the rural sector, urban sector differentiation we understand. And as I told you, the different policies, programs of the government, they are not done in a segmented manner. They are done in a coordinated manner. And it is not only the MSME, Minister of MSME is involved. There are all other line departments. They are also dovetailed to make it a success. Supposing you wish to start a startup in your village, you require a land in your village to start. As you mentioned about infrastructure, let me make it clear to you.
Yes,
I am not aware of the practices in other states. I am talking of the Odisha. In Odisha, what it does, we have a land bank with the district magistrate and collector. He is the person who maintains the register, where a particular land in every village, it is earmarked for MSME sector. I mean, establishment of small, medium, and micro industries. It is already there. At the national level, also there is a process, and these land banks are used for developing. So, what kind of industry you wish to have, provided your project report or whatever you have, it is a sustainable, and it is the, if you want to start it there, should have the need of that area. That is important. And second is that I tell you that this is there are a lot of departments are involved in the process. It's not a single department they can do it. The MSME ministry cannot do the wonders. It is the finance department, it is the revenue department, it is the industry department, it is the SME department. Every department had its own, and government also takes care of all this. Don't think that we just pass the buck on them. We understand that this is supposing you go, and for that we have a single window system. We have a single window system where you apply, where the representative of all the departments are there. That is what is happening in our state. it is also a national policy and it is adopted across India in many states. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Sir, there is another question by Arun Prem. He said, as we know, one of the negatively impacted sector due to this pandemic is tourism sector. Many of the small and medium tourism enterprises got affected. How our government will able to be tackle these problems? Any specific programs to revive tourism industry? So, sir,
Should I answer?
yes, sir. Please, sir. Please, sir.
As you know that you have rightly flagged off, one of the worst hit sector is tourism. And if you look at the tourism is an industry, and tourism has been worst hit by this because the communication has been cut off, the hotels have been shut down, and all the monuments have been shut down. And the worst part is that the flow of the tourists have been restricted with a lot of this COVID test, and so this is a fact. But in spite of all odds, that the government has what government has done. That government has done during this pandemic. These hotels which have been closed. First of all, government has given a direction to them: you do not disengage your employees. A clear-cut direction has gone to them that you cannot, even if they don't work, don't disengage them. So in our state, at least, we have, because I am also director of the Odisha Tourism Development Corporation, we are not disengaging any of them. Number two is that there are a lot of, like the guides, like the sea beach, there are a lot of vendors. So we have given them a specific allowance whereby they can still continue with their this thing. That is also there. And the digitized also we have a lot of digitized our products, which we are planning to have these handicrafts, handlooms, all these things which are sold by the tourism departments, different counters. They are now in the digital platform. They are in you have the e-commerce gateway. You can always get through Amazon or any other platform. So these are there. But the concern is that how to, if there is no footfall of the tourists, then how do we generate the money? That is the biggest challenge. So difficult times always calls for very desperate times always calls for desperate measures. So we have planned that whatever is possible to wherever we can visit, where a proper COVID protocol can be maintained. So following a COVID protocol, you can visit some sites and you can go to the places where there cannot be a lot of crowd. So following this, the limited way, we have allowed the tourists to come. So the tourist inflow, in fact, I'll tell you, from January to March, the footfall has really increased. And we have started a lot of things. New spots have been come up. We try to promote lot of tourist destinations in the local areas. Supposing one cannot go out of the district, let us promote some destination inside the district so that they have to be they do not have to go outside that, and they can also get some employment. So it is difficult, but still the government is taking a lot of steps to revive this.
Thank you, sir. Next question is asked by Dr. Kaushik N. Bhuyan. He said, was not India Atmanirbhar before? Why suddenly this boom? What are the different schemes of this Abhiyan for rural India, more particularly with states enriched with natural resources? I would like to ask Ramakrishna sir to answer the question.
Excuse me, can you repeat the question? Because
Yes, was not India Atmanirbhar before? Why suddenly this boom? What are the different schemes of this Atmanirbhar Abhiyan for rural India, more particularly with states enriched with natural resources?
a very good question actually, because I think Dr. Mishra may have to answer, and I will give my bit, and then maybe Dr. Mishra will be able to add this. Atmanirbhar Bharat is the concept which has been now being realized, and it is trying to put a very organized approach to the whole issue. It was there earlier also, but it was not organized. So the individuals were trying on their own how to go about these challenges. They were trying to do their own survival issue. And then government on the whole, as a country as a whole, we were not knowing which are all the products that we will be trying to build internally to make our country more self-reliant.
towards the growth of the metal sector during development.
Hello? I think there is somebody have to mute it here. So, second one. And secondly, we, as Dr. Mishra has said, Atmanirbhar Bharat is not all about some making in India or by assembling India, but internally we have to build the competencies, we have to build the capacities, that capacity building exercise have to happen so that we have the workforce which can produce a world-class product and also product of a high quality for the country also. And also we should be able to produce a product which we can be able to export. So this is a very systematic approach of making India self-reliant and also making it not only a powerhouse within for our own country, but also able to export a lot of our products, right from defense equipment to automobile to everything. Like what we are seeing in the pharma sector right now, the pharma sector growth is also a very, very classic case of Atmanirbhar Bharat. When it comes to natural resources, I think there is a large demand for the resources within our country which we have to work out, and also government policies have to be laid in place for so that how we are able to export them and put a right price at the right through the right structural and right engineering, right processing of all that. Those have to be done. I think Dr. Mishra will be able to add value to the export of the natural resources, which I'm ignorant on that side of it. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. The government of India's export policy, the only one line I'll sum up, that export promotion and import substitution has been the policy of the government of India as far as export policy is concerned. Since your question is specific to the rural India, and you wanted that how this rural India, let me tell you that that entire MSME focus has not only concentrated to urban. As I told you that 60% are in rural based, and for this rural based, what government is contemplating, actually the important thing is the identification of new products. And it means the products which are contemporary, which are need based, and for which there is a competition. For example, this is the pandemic. Look at the 2 years back, India was not producing these masks or sanitizer or PPP kit. It was just concentrated to few people's. Now you go to everywhere. Even I had been across India. I have traveled. Now I found that in many places these small products are being people are engaged and doing that. So, for example, this typical, I'm preparing a mask. These the handlooms, the local handlooms, they are preparing it and selling it off. So it is now the whole scenario is being changed. It is very dynamic. You cannot concentrate that this is the only thing which will produce in rural area, it will produce in urban area. So now the focus is that what is important for us, which product is important, for that which technology is required, whether we have the kind of digitization there or not, whether we can have a market or not, who will procure that product. So there is an entire supply chain management system is in place, and there are a couple of the district industry officer is the nodal officer of a district. He in fact receives all applications, be it rural, be it urban. Above that, there is a director of industries who in fact has been given a complete responsibility of that in all districts, particularly rural districts. This any entrepreneur who applies, how you will apply, where to apply, and there is a timeline. Government has fixed a timeline. Everything is timeline. Everything is review based. Everything is policy based. You cannot now in today's world where technology is dominant. I mean, the social media is so very powerful. I mean, we cannot say that we do not have access to information. And as you know that knowledge alone will not make you powerful. Knowledge clubbed with information will make you powerful. So everything is in place. The only thing is that how smart enough you are to access those facilities, how fast you are going to approach them. You must understand what is available. Most of the youngsters, most of the young entrepreneurs, they are not aware what is available for them from the government side. The information is not there. How can they can avail? So blaming the government is very easy. But have you gone through what the government is offering to you? How many times have you gone through the MSME policies? What are the schemes available? Have you gone to any government corporations? See, everything is available, everything is possible. You have the right attitude and aptitude to do this. Thank you.
So thank you very much. Another question is there. Question is asked by Dr. Kishore Kumar Das. He asks, is there any initiative taken by government of Odisha for vocal for local mantra? I would like to request Dr. Mishra to answer the question.
And thank you. This question is extremely relevant. In fact, one of the slogan of the Atmanirbhar Bharat is that local for vocal. Local for global. In fact, I'll tell you that there are a couple of entrepreneurs in Odisha who have very successfully have made their names at the national level, and these products are going across the boundary, going abroad also. It has made a name in international level. There are different sectors of the industry. But I'm talking of the MSME sectors. There are very important 3-4 entrepreneurs who have really made their name. One is the textiles, where the Odissi sari and that Odissi Sambalpuri sari and Sonpur sari and the products of the handicrafts, they have been exported. The demand is very high. That is one thing. Second thing, that Orissa cuisine, also the food has been very popular. It has been displayed in most of the trade fairs like in Germany, in UK, in US. We had our opening, and it's a huge demand. And there is a lot of this demand for Orissa cuisine. So we are now planning to have in every all the metros, we are planning to open our stores for the textiles, handlooms, for the Odisha cuisine. So a stall we want to open. You'll be happy to know that in Mumbai, next to World Trade Center, we have opened a huge center for the handlooms and handicrafts. It is in Delhi also, in Bangalore also. So there is a Milky Moo, one entrepreneur is a milk product that is going everywhere. We expect a lot. So what I mean to say that Odisha being such a small state, its entrepreneurs using its own technology and its own skilled manpower, they have made such products which has really become global. I mean, you can check in the net with the kind of demand we have, the kind of export we do. I mean, we have now running 3 ports, and the statistics is really very promising. I'll tell you that the particularly handloom sector, handicraft sector, and obviously, I mean, I sense education is also one of where Odisha is in fact the education hub of the East. Every kind of university and the education is here. So, gentlemen, we have been doing it, and we have proved our credentials at the national level, at the international level. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next question is for Mr. M. Ramakrishna, sir. Sunil Daspandi asked you the question, how you are able to deal with Maitri Aquatech during these turbulent times? Please share your opinion, sir.
No, like any other company, we also had our own turbulent thing, because more so we were also exporting to a lot of countries. Even today, the biggest challenge is some of the ports are not working. We have a large order pipeline, but we are not able to export because ports are still not working properly. And then, of course, the airline challenges are there. Most of our international travel is also affected. But at the same time, let me tell you one thing. Also, in continuation of what Dr. Mishra has told earlier, there are some excellent initiatives that are happening world over. We are a partner with Asian Development Bank, and when we and let me tell you one thing, our company has grown multifold during the last 1 year. So actually, if you see from a growth perspective, while I describe the challenges, but the company has grown maybe 40 times, 50 times in the last 1 year. That is only because of the lot of digital alternatives that are available today. And thanks to the government initiative and the other initiatives also, if we are focused and we are able to put our product on a digital media, I think the demand is very high, and even the price realization is also extremely good. I give you like an example, like I was telling about Asian Development Bank. Asian Development Bank has, we are one of their also partners in one of the things. The Asian Development Bank has run a virtual exhibition where they have allowed us to display our product to the global audience. So what they did, they brought some 30, 40 companies like us who got an innovative technology to the platform, and they brought global audience to see that, and that show was live for 6 working days. So a lot of people across the world have visited us, and then we started getting the inquiries. I think similar exercise can also be done by government of Odisha or any other government also, so that a lot of virtual exhibitions, either can be industry specific or a sector specific, can be done, so that popularize that content with the rest of the global audience. There can be a demand creation can happen, and also a lot of our products will get a global exposure. And that's exactly what Maitri has also done. But the bigger challenge was availability of the manpower. See, the pandemic issues are very, very different. You don't get the manpower. That's the biggest challenge. So the manpower challenge was very, very high, which we have to address. Because when the orders were high, we were not, and then our vendors were not willing to supply the material. So vendor was very difficult. Then finished product supply chain management was also a very, very challenging issue. So what we have to anticipate proactively, we have to work with it. And as Dr. Mishra said, desperate times require desperate decisions, or challenging times require challenging decisions. We got to think through that. That's what the maturity of the management is all about. And fortunately, I definitely agree with Dr. Mishra on one side. Nowadays, the government is much more proactive and visible, and they are listening to our challenges. Only thing is that we have to reach out to them, discuss with them, and sometimes, okay, we may have some bad experience, but on the whole, I think 9 out of the 10 cases, we still get support from the system. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now we'll take our last questions. The question is asked by Innovation Odisha, and the question is for Dr. Mishra. Why it is so gap between the policy and implementation in terms of supporting system like mentoring, technology support? What are the necessary steps have taken towards growth of hospital sectors during this pandemic?
Thank you. In fact, as all of you are aware that Odisha is the first state which took the bold step in opening 30 COVID hospitals in a record time of 1 month. In fact, when at the national level, we have been got pat on our back that yes, we have done it. So for the pandemic, as you know that we have been very proactive, and we have opened the COVID hospitals, the RT-PCR test, the kind of oxygen supply. And yesterday's news, as you know, that Odisha is supplying oxygen to Delhi, to Maharashtra, to Chhattisgarh, to Bihar. So we have been capable enough to handle the medical facilities and medical equipments, whatever is there. We have been very proactive. We have done it. I know because the Odisha Medical Corporation has been created with a intention to facilitate these things to the people. So that is the reason Odisha is one of the states where we face the pandemic in a most efficient manner. That is what is this thing. The second thing is, you told that for the Innovation Odisha, as you know that the Innovation Odisha is a policy and as a program, it has been designed with keeping the mind of the youngsters, our skilled manpower who are passing out every year from the different engineering colleges or different polytechnic colleges, or people who are graduating from the. So we have been targeting these youngsters who have been passing out. So for them, the government of Odisha has already evolved a mechanism where is campus to campus, different campuses, we are having the camps where the facilitation center is there. The resource persons are going in a career counseling is going on in different campuses of the Odisha's different universities, and they are planning. We are planning that the more and more of them they can come up, start something. The start of the start. In fact, you'll be happy to know that the IIT Bhubaneswar, in fact, has already opened 30 to 40 incubation centers, and in collaboration with IIM Sambalpur and the Utkal University, there's a lot of youngsters which are being grown in this innovation Odisha process. Every year we award some innovations. In fact, when I was in the industry department, I have awarded Ruksha Mahapatra as one of the for her she was awarded. So we have been trying to promote and involve and motivate the youngsters, all the youngsters who have come up with the ideas, who have come up with this thing. The major constant with them is that finance, and second is the information. Who is two things we are planning to share with them, and I believe that if you can rightly try for it and ask the right person at the right time, you will definitely get the right kind of support what you require to. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Now time is to wind up this.
Professor Mahapatra, okay. Professor Mahapatra, can I ask one question? Last, not least, actually, to Dr. Misra.
Okay, sir, please.
Okay, sir, thank you for giving a nice reply to my previous question, just what you had replied. So I'm Dharma Prakash. I'm the founder chairman of Rupin Technology Solution Private Limited. It's an awarded company in 2019 for most innovative startup in fintech trade, financial technology trade. My question was actually to you regarding that medical equipments sector development and hospital. So typically, I had us to ask exactly for like hospital sectors. We had huge, oxygens, but we have failed to produce value-added product till now. Even after this pandemic, only we have found actually government supply to the different states, but not even if it is done any sort of like value-added product from gas. Like we can use the gas, I mean to say oxygen gas, towards making different kind of product, and already I have found even if so many gap between implementing policies and exactly and the support system. So kindly, sir, please look at this matter towards development of implementing mentoring support. Mentoring support is a huge gap in MSME. What I have found, you can make me rectify, because it is really seeing somewhere like mentors, right kind of mentors, technologically background mentors are not there in MSME, where all these startups are been failed. Okay, so please further onwards, please look at this matter. It is really very required to mentoring support towards the agriculture, fintech sector, and this hospitality is down more or less, but hospital, it is really required, sir.
The point is well taken. In fact,
thank you.
We are concerned about this also. But I will partly disagree with you that in fact what happens when an entrepreneur comes to the government, he in fact comes with a lot of good ideas and a lot of good projects they want to start it off. But government has its own system, and government has its own system of verification. I will give you an example that we have so many industrial estates across Odisha. And what has happened? We have given the land to many industrialists, many entrepreneurs for a particular industry. And you go and see what these industries these lands are being used for. So what I'm exactly want to tell you that lot of policies, programs extended to government has been misused. I mean, in Cuttack Madhupatna industrial estate, or in Bhubaneswar, if you go to the industrial estate of Rasulgarh, many of them have been turned into godams. Then many of them have been turned. There is no industry, though they have taken the land for industries. So what I'm saying, everybody is not like that. I'm just telling you that
Yes, yes.
government is a process, and government will always go by rules. There could be some individuals who can block you, but the system doesn't block you. We have all right intentions to help entrepreneur. We always want an entrepreneur to grow in Odisha. Why you will stop that? And that's why the single window system is there. The grievance cell is there. Every district magistrate have to listen to you, because we have a grievance cell at the district magistrate's level, and government level also. We have a lot of things. What you say that information is important, and right approach and right activities and effort is also required. If your government can give you, we can take the horse to the pond. We cannot make it drink. We can give you a land. We can give you the support. But if it is not used in the right time or for the right purpose, then the whole idea is defeated. I hope your points are also well taken. You will definitely see what best can be done for the entrepreneurs. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So, sir, this is the time to wind up the session. First of all, I would like to thank our eminent speakers of this session, Dr. Parthasarathi Mishra, sir, for prominating the 5 pillars of MSMEs, and Mr. M. Ramakrishna, sir, for giving their valuable, precious time and enriching valuable insight in this webinar on MSME and Atmanirbhar Bharat by specifying the practical aspects of MSME, like different experience faced by micro, small and medium entrepreneurs. Again, I would like to thank our President, sir, Professor Dr. Vishwajit Patnaik, sir, our Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Kalyan Sankar Ray, sir, our Pro Vice Chancellor, Dr. Falguni Ranjana ma'am, for guiding us and continuously inspiring us to make this webinar possible in this short span of time. I also extend my thanks to all the faculty, friends, our dear students, research scholars, management staff, technical team, and each and everyone who are associated with this webinar for their eminent support and cooperation. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.